Hey folks, it's Woody here at USA Made Blade, and very excited to introduce to you and introduce to the first time anywhere on YouTube, the Nichols Guppy folder. So if you follow us or watched us for a while, you know we've been selling Nichols knives, who we affectionately call Nick Nichols. We've been selling his knives for a long time, and in our space, he's well known for making an absolutely incredible chef knife and some really amazing fixed blades. So this is his first time jumping into the folder realm, and very excited because he just absolutely crushed it. So let's get into this knife, show it off a little bit, give you some specs and talk about it here. So specs on this. So it is overall length of 7.25 inches. You've got a 3.1 inch Magna Cut steel blade with a Rockwell of 6162. Absolutely fantastic blade on this, wicked sharp out of the box. We are blade thickness of 0.150, and we are 4.9 ounces. So a little history on this. We're talking about it to show off the action on this. And actually, before I forget it, let's show off how wicked sharp this is. And I'm doing this from behind the camera, so I cannot say it's going real well. It is not. There we go. A very weird angle to do this, but absolutely wicked sharp right out of the box. That was probably the worst demonstration I could give, but we've done a lot of takes trying to get this right, so we're gonna keep rolling. The action on these is fantastic. It runs on skiff bearings. I would not call it a drop shutty knife. It is more of a hydraulic close for sure, but the opening is amazing. So you can push open and it flies right out. Good detent on these, or you can light switch it. So pocket clip on these, it sits a little high out of the pocket, but definitely not too high. I've been carrying one since we first got them, and it has not been any more noticeable or anything else in any of the other knives I sell or carry. But the one thing about the pocket clip is the screw settings are similar to a lot of other knives, including Hinder. So there are some deep carry secondary market options out there for you if you prefer to have a deep carry clip on this. So the clip has been very well done. When these very first ones came out, the clip right here at the point was a little sharp. Nick has definitely done a good job of rounding that off. And so sits in the pocket, clip does really well. And the other big thing about these that Nick went through a lot of trouble to do is that it's all tie hardware. So your pivot, your handle screws, your standoffs, your pocket clip screws, and your steel lock insert, they all are titanium. So you do have a steel lock insert in there. Lockup on these has been consistently sitting at about 30% on most of them. This one's maybe closer to 40, but hadn't budged. Has been really good lockup on them. Detent action on these, he's done a really good job of being consistent, giving it a really nice detent. So fires out great, but not a finger breaker. So, you know, the other thing to tell you about Nick with these, and excuse me, a little water break here, is that Nick has worked and reworked these, where he was coming to visit us a lot, bringing us prototypes, eventually ended up adding all the tie hardware, ended up putting in the steel lock insert. He's changed the pocket clip over time, worked on the detents to get those perfect, and just constantly looking for feedback to improve. So putting them on skiff bearings, really getting everything working beautifully. and he's done a really good job of that. He's really listened to what feedback we've given him, but he's also met with a lot of big knife nuts, people who are much more knowledgeable about knives than I am, and they've given him a ton of feedback and worked with him. He's met with other makers and shown them and talked to them. So he's really listened to what everybody's had to tell him and really listened to what the market's been wanting. So even down to the size of it. And I think he's done a great job to really listen to the market. So I will say so far we've sold over 50 of these, and the feedback for the majority of it, we've had a couple complaints, but they've been pretty minor, and stuff that we would get on any brand knife out there in this price range. But outside of that, a lot of the people who have bought have come back and bought a second one or a third one. The feedback's just been great. Everybody who's gotten one from us, a lot of our normal customers and big supporters have just absolutely loved them. So let's jump in from here, since we've given that enough accolades, and do some comparisons. So I think I said earlier, we've done a lot of takes on this, so we're going to try something a little different. Instead of just showing you the comparisons with this knife, we are going to show you some of the customized versions that we've been doing. So let's start here. This is the tri-steps version. This is laser engraved. Does give just a little bit of texturing on here, but we oiled that in, and it is just the perfect amount of texturing for a little extra grip on that smooth tie. But did it on both sides, did not do the pocket clip. We tried one, it did not look good. It trust me, this is a much better look. So each one of these is just going to be something a little different while we do some comparisons. So I'll introduce and show the finish, and then we'll give a comparison or two, and then move on to the next one. So like I said, this one is the Stonewash tri-steps, and here we are. We're going to compare it to the Southern Grind Spider Monkey. And we're going to take our time with these, so this might take a little while, but overall length, we really are just about spot on. And the Spider Monkey's also well known for being in this kind of size range that a lot of knives aren't. You get a lot of knives that are either that 3.5 or just around the 3-inch. This is just slightly over. Handle length, you definitely get a wider handle across on the Guppy. So, but blade length, you're pretty much spot on. The thickness across the handles, you're definitely thicker on the Guppy. So we've sold a lot of Spider Monkeys. I thought it was a good one to throw in there. Let's do one more with the tri-steps, because let's compare this to the ZTO 562 tie. This happens to be the We the People, shameless plug here. This one just came off the laser, so I haven't quite cleaned it all up yet. But the 562 tie has always been a big seller for us. I think a lot of people own this knife, and gives you a really good idea. You definitely get more handle length out of it, and about another little over, I don't know, 5/16 or so of an inch more blade length. So let's show them closed. Show that handle thickness there. And compare these across closed. So hopefully that helps. So let's move this finish out of the way. The next one we'll go to is the same finish. It's that tri-step finish. And I got to get this one in the light to really show it off. And then this, we did a shipwreck bronze, which is a darker bronze, and then bronzed out all the hardware. So bronze standoffs, every piece, even down to the lock bar stabilizer. And this one's still got that texturing, just very slight, but good looking finish. So let's give this one a comparison. Let's start with the Curtis F3 medium. And overall size range, I mean, we're pretty darn spot on. So about the same handle length, about the same blade length. Thickness across the handles here, we're really, really close. Maybe just a little thicker on the Guppy. So close these up and show that together. And I mean, closed, we're really, really close. I think the Curtis is slightly lighter. At least it feels that way in the hand. So next up, let's go to another finish here. So let's go with this one's really cool. This is the Kraken, and we did an engraved Kraken across the front of it. Did a shipwreck green finish on it with bronze hardware. This is oiled in as well, so you're not gonna get fingerprinting. Bronzed all the hardware on it. And then did a tentacle wrap, so there's tentacles coming back around the back of the lock side. So very cool finish on this one. And we've done different versions of these. We've had some purple and scratch bronze. We've had some bronze ones. We've done some blue. I think I've got a blue and bronze one here to show you in a minute. So we keep trying to put new ones on every couple days, every 2 to 3 days. So right now we're pretty low on them, but keep checking back because about every few days we're adding new versions. We're going to compare this one to the McNeese Mac 2 3-inch, and at the same time we're going to throw in the Mac 2 3.5. I think we're going to spend most of our time focused on the 3.5, but let's show them both here. So, and this is, a lot of these knives that I'm showing or comparing are mine. So just keep that in mind if they look used. We're not selling used knives, we never have. But I wanted to get as many comparisons in here for this as possible. So let's show this off with the Mac 2 3.5. Very similar closed. Definitely thicker on the Guppy. Not by a ton, but definitely thicker. And then open, where you're definitely looking at a bigger blade coming out of that Mac 2 3.5. So hopefully that helps some. And let's go ahead and retire that one, and we'll pull in. So let's do one more of the engraved versions. This is what we call the bronze Dead Man. So I've got the cool pirate with anchor on the front, all bronzed hardware. And then on the back side, we actually did a map finish. This is the compass and a little boat down here, and you got the ocean going across. Definitely a very different finish. Probably won't be doing many more of the Dead Mans since the Kraken does seem to be more popular. But let's start with comparing this to the Les George ESV and the Les George VECP. So show this part off here first. This is with the ESV. You actually get, for a smaller knife on the ESV, you get a lot more handle length than people realize, but definitely bigger on the Guppy. We're about the same across the back here. So, and then on the VECP, you're looking really similar closed. You get a little more handle length out of the VECP, but not much. But then when you open up, I think you're going to get, I'm pretty sure, quite the difference here. So strange how similar they'll look closed, but opened up, you're going to get a good bit more blade length. And actually looking at it from this angle, you get a little bit more handle length out of the ESV. Oh, that's the problem with working behind the camera here. All right. And we'll move that one out of the way. So one of the things that I did not mention is that the inside of the tie presentation scale is not milled out. One of the reasons for that is because Nick is doing some with inlays. This happens to be a checkered desert ironwood inlay. It's absolutely beautiful. We've got a few other inlays that we'll show you here shortly. Well, actually just one other one. So for this one, we're going to compare it to the small Nkosi. Sorry, I don't have any Sabenzas here. We haven't had any Chris Reeve knives come through in a while. So that is the small Nkosi and the large Nkosi. And, you know, quite a bit of difference between these. This is what I was talking about earlier, kind of being in that sweet spot between a lot of knives that are available in this price range. So definitely a bigger knife, thicker everything across than the small Nkosi. But then when you get into that large, kind of like the Les George VECP, you're going to get more blade length out of it and a little bit more handle length. Maybe a 1/4 inch more handle length on this. So we're going to leave this one out here for a minute because I do love the scale. I think it's beautiful. And next up, I would be a fool not to throw in a half track. They're not really comparable. They're definitely different sizes, but got to put it in here because we've sold a ton of half tracks over the years. So, and all of our customers, most of our customers love the half track. So good one to compare just for, we know a lot of you have them in your pocket. So more handle length out of the Guppy, more blade length. All of that's going to be pretty obvious. All right. And honestly, with the half track, this is probably, the Warney is not the best version to use, just because it makes the blade look even smaller than it is. But thickness across the back, very, very similar. Very similar. So, and from this angle, doesn't look like you get as much blade. Let's close them and just show them in hand here. All right. So, and then, yeah, let's go ahead and, this one's a tough finish to show in this lighting, but this is another Kraken. This is a blue and scratch bronze. Very different. The scratch finishes on these are very cool because you can see you get some of the bronzing into the tentacles and just around the eyes, things like that. So it's a very cool finish. We bronzed out all the hardware, but in darker light, kind of fades on you. But we promise it's there. Bronzed out all the hardware on it. And now this blue will definitely fingerprint a little, but honestly, as it does, it kind of fades out, gives you almost a underwater look on the Kraken. So let's throw this one in here, and we're gonna just compare this one to the MP1. The Hinder MP1 has not been made in a long time, but felt like throwing it in. I think it's a good one to compare, just for the overall finishes that are on these, and a little bit more for the size. In my head, I really thought these were much closer than they are, but the Guppy's actually a little bit smaller. So, but across the back here, about the same size. All right, and then last but not least, you know we've got to we'll bring in this one with a marbled carbon fiber inlay and show that off. This has a different clip on it. This is a custom clip from Nick that he did. He did maybe a dozen of these, so we threw it on a few specialty ones, and we can always switch it out for you if you'd prefer to have the other style clip. But last but not least, we got to compare it to the Hinder XM18 3.5 and the Hinder XM18 3-inch. So, like I said, I saved this one for last specifically because it really does show that it's right in that range between these two knives. So, closed you're definitely going to get more handle, more blade, more everything out of the hinder. So substantially bigger. I mean, it is. It's definitely bigger. Little thicker across the handle here on the back. And then on the 3-inch version, you know, you're going to be, let me close these up here. You're just a little bigger on the Nichols. Make sure I have them level, but yeah, just a little more handle length down here and little more rounding at the top here, but thicker on the Guppy for sure. And then blade length, you know, just another 1/4 inch or so, not even. Blade length on that. So, you know, it just kind of shows where this Nichols Guppy falls in that middle of that sweet spot. So hopefully that helps. That was a lot of comparisons and a lot of talking, and like I said, this is a lot of takes that we've done on this, and a few times I've gotten to this point and made a mistake. But let me throw in these customized versions again. Oh, I did want to show this. I don't think I did this earlier, and excuse my nasty finger there. I slammed it in the door. But good grip in the hand. I mean, I've got big hands, and I'm having no problem getting all 4 fingers on it. Just fits the hand very, very well. So no issues there. No real hot spots since he's been rounding these pocket clips off. That's taken away that issue. Just a good feel in the hand. So really, really well done knife all the way around. But throw some of these back in here. Like I said, we're going to continue doing customized versions and adding different ones to the site as often as we can. So keep an eye out for those. But guys, this is guys and girls, this is the Nichols, or as we call him, Nichols Guppy folder. They are now available at usamadeblade.com. And we appreciate you, especially if you watched this entire video. This is one of the longer ones we've ever done. So we really appreciate you watching. We really do hope you'll go over and check out this knife and support Nick and the growth that he's going to have on these, because I think they're going to take off. But I appreciate everybody for taking the time to watch it. We hope you'll go over to usamadeblade.com and pick one up. And I'll say it one last time. Thank you for watching.